Hey guys, it's net night, and you know I like to reach out. Sorry about last week, Christmas, cold coming. I didn't have time to do nothing. So, but anyway, what I want to talk about tonight is I had a couple of conversations that were totally independent of each other and had no bearing on what one or the other was saying. And each of these conversations talked about, one was with a fella. I was reprogramming my radio earlier, and I just threw my call sign out there over the repeater and to see if I could get, a read on my signal, and somebody piped up, and we talked for about, 5 minutes or so. And one thing that we talked about, he had talked how he monitors he monitors 5.2. And if you're an old school ham radio operator, you probably know what he's talking about. Now later, when we had our net night, there was a fella that was talking on his handheld, and it was programmed to the repeater, and so everybody on the net, he was sitting out on his back porch freezing his tail off in the cold, but he was on what we call short time. So short time gets to go first, and so he talked to us, he checked in, made sure his handheld radio was working, and then he was done. Okay, and so one of the things that came up, during our regular, how do you do night is we don't have, I guess what you would say, backup power on our local repeater. The local repeater functions so long as there's electricity. So what do? Well, if something goes and we lose power, or for whatever reason, there's an emergency, we have to, resort to backup methods for communication. And if you're a part of a local net, everybody that communicates on that net knows what those procedures are. And so if you don't know what the procedures are in your area, you need to get up with your local ham radio operators club, and you need to talk to them, and you need to get that figured out, or at least figure out when they meet during the week and at what time, and get in there and throw your call out and be recognized. You don't actually have to be a member of the ham radio club in order to be able to communicate. Ham radio operators all support other ham radio operators, and it's kind of like an ethics code. Okay, ham radio operators are here to help. It's like being in the military or in the service. You absolutely have to have someone that you could depend upon, in cases of emergencies. And that's what a ham radio operator does. They use an undisclosed creed, okay? And that is to do nothing but help, and that is to do nothing but, support, the effort, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn my radio on here just in case somebody pipes up. I turned it off a little bit earlier, but what you need to do is you need to understand that, okay, let's just talk about that. Grid goes down, what are you going to do? First thing you're going to do, since everybody in your area is all in tune with the frequency that you use to get tuned into the local repeater, is you're going to go into simplex mode. Okay, you're going to diss the CTCSS code and no PL, no offset, and you're going to go straight simplex, and you're going to tune into the frequency. The repeater's not working, all right, but everybody else that is used to using that frequency is going to simplex mode, and then everybody's going to be making the call. You might not be able to communicate with everybody that you normally do over, the repeater, but you will be able to communicate with others that are nearby you, okay? And you should, if you haven't, you need to start plotting you a map and the location of all the other ham radio operators that you know of. This one fella that I talked to this evening, he wasn't familiar with my call and my call sign, so he got it and he looked me up and he just, kind of wanted to know about where I was, and so I let him know my general location in the county, and then he says, just so happens he's not really too far from me, and he monitors what he calls 5.2. Now, our local repeater frequency will get us hooked up with our local buddies, our ham radio operators, but there's another frequency that you need to be made aware of, and I don't know if everybody knows about this, okay? But it's called the National Go-To frequency for ham radio operators if everything goes down. And that frequency is 14652. And so when you hear somebody talking and they call, I monitor 5.2, that's what they're doing. And a lot of the guys will have their radios turned on and just monitor that frequency and throw their call out every once in a while just to see if they can pick somebody up. And every once in a while, somebody will pipe up, because that's the national go-to frequency and everybody needs to know about it. But what I'm going to also emphasize here is, you can have your home radio and you can have your handheld and operate in simplex mode to be able to communicate with everyone in that type of situation. But what you also need to do is you need to have your own frequency, okay, for maybe some sort of secure communication. You need to set up your radio at the house, and you need to set up your handheld, and go about setting up a secure line of communication between those two radios. Now, one thing a lot of people don't know is, and I haven't done it yet, but it's something I want to do, is you can set these radios here up. They actually, and I'm going to look it up, I'll put a link down below. You can actually set up these little radios to operate as a repeater. Okay, so if you was to set these up and to operate as a repeater, you can put these in a strategic location or high up in a tree and get some elevation, and then a lot of the your communications with the other guys can be improved. And with a lot of these little handhelds out roaming around, driving up and down the road, roaming through the woods, hunting, off the coast fishing, you'd be able to communicate. So what I'm saying is explore some options, okay, for using these radios. These guys, one day, okay, maybe not in our lifetime, but maybe sometime soon, these radios are going to be saving a lot of people, and you're going to need them to stay in touch. Make sure you have all your emergency frequencies for your local emergency services programmed into this phone. Make sure you have them programmed into your radio at the house. I said phone. Make sure you have them all programmed. Make sure you have all the emergency frequencies programmed into the radio. Make sure you have all your emergency frequencies programmed into your radio at the house. Make sure that you have a separate frequency set up for communication between your personal handhelds and your radio. And then make sure that you understand, and everyone in your house understands, how to operate this in simplex mode to communicate, okay? You just never know. All right. There's a lot of information in there to digest. I could go on all night long, and I hadn't even gotten in to showing you how to program these things. But apparently, from the length of time I've been talking about this radio, there's a lot more to it. All right. So what you need to do is you need to order you a few of these radios if you don't have them. They're very inexpensive. They're cheap. You can get the UV5Rs. Those are probably the most inexpensive radios out there. You know, this here is the UV9R Plus. I mean, I think this one's up in the range of about $45. You can buy these in single packs, double packs, 6 packs. Okay, but I would definitely get you a couple, 3 or 4 of these, you know, even just for yourself. That way, if something goes down, you know, you can dish them out, and you might, you know, and you've already got them programmed, and you can show somebody how easy it is to use the radio, and then, you know, y'all are on the same page. I don't, you know, it's just the unknown. What's going to happen? When is it going to happen? Is it ever going to happen? It doesn't matter. The whole idea about getting this set up and operating and knowing how to use it is to be prepared. And don't forget that frequency. Maybe I should make you go back and rewatch the whole video again to get that frequency number. You think I should do that? Rewatch? No, I'm going to tell you. The frequency, if you didn't catch it before, you need to get this embedded in your brains and never forget it. It is 14652. All right? You might move into an area and not know where the local ham radio operators are operating, but they'll always be monitoring 146,520. All right? Let me show you how to do that real quick.
Frequency mode.
Frequency mode.
14652.
That's it. That's all you got to do. Push the button to talk. PTT. Alright guys, if you found any of the information in this video helpful, hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be back next week with more shop talk, and this is KK4 Quebec Kilo Whiskey, and we're out.